Hello,
Hey,
how's it going?
good. Long day, almost over.
Yeah, almost.
Oh,
Just waiting for this lady to come on. I want to pick her brain and I want to pick yours as well. So, Jesus.
hi, how are
Maybe
you?
I thought that was a ghost. What's up? How you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah, super, super. Yeah, so we had a conversation last time, and I was thinking a few things, right? So we were talking about why guys don't come into therapy sessions, right? That psych therapy, not physical therapy. Um, and then you were saying, Liko, that you see a lot of women there, right? Right?
Your video is echoing everything that you're saying.
Oh, okay, maybe it's your net. Am I echoing there, Alice?
Nope, not for me.
Hmm.
Then bye.
She'll come back.
Is she in
How's it going?
Bahrain as well?
No,
No.
she's back at home.
Yeah.
Is the main man sleeping?
Almost. I hope.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's actually what I wanted to get at, actually. It was
Now
exactly
you must
that.
repeat what you were saying.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll get that. But that's exactly what you just did now. Is exactly what I want to get in. Right? Okay. So I said I was speaking earlier, and we were talking about, or not earlier, the other day, about you were saying that in your practice or in your experience that a lot of females will come into therapy, right? But not a lot of males, right? Right? Okay, so that's psych therapy, right? Not obviously physical therapy, but I was thinking about it, and you were saying to me like, well, if guys have mental issues and they have all sorts of things going on, why don't they just come in, right? And then I thought, well, okay, well, that's a good question, right? Because like if females have mental issues, why do they come in, right? And then more importantly, like what is it that that you gain as a result, right? Because like as a guy, for myself, knowing like or not knowing therapy, but thinking about it, like if I'm going to speak to a person about my problems, right? I want a solution, right? I'm not just there to just go, hey, look, man, I'm down on $20. It's like it doesn't mean anything to me. Like I need you to then tell me, okay, this is how you get it. This is how you obtain it. Um, this is this is what you need to do to get it. Like solve the problem, right? And I might be wrong, but I feel as though when you're interacting with females and they tell you your problems, it's like just listen. It's less to do with solving the problem, but more to do with just understand what I'm going through and what's going on. So, so I want to find out from you. Then, is there specific ways that you then approach treatment when it comes to males and females? And do you find that also that males and females want different things, or is it like just a person to person thing? But do males and females want different things when they do come to therapy? Because yeah, like I said again, like for me and friends of mine and people that are around me that I know, like they only go to therapy if like really need be. If there's like if you don't go to therapy, then you won't get your child, or if you don't go to therapy, then you'll go to jail. you know, and it's not a thing of like, we're going to go to therapy and then, yeah, because I have issues with my wife or I have issues with this, what to do with, oh, okay, well, you know, she needs us to go to therapy, so therefore we'll do it. But I don't know what it's about. So yeah, that's the question.
Okay. For starters, I am not a psychologist, guys. Please, I don't want people to go on the counsel of the psychologist and go, look up my name, search my name, and I'm not registered as a psychologist. I'm a social worker, so yes, you can go on our council and you can, put in my details and I will pop up there as registered. The thing is, we are not problem solvers.
For yourself.
Ah,
Get a nice advertisement for yourself.
go away. The thing is, we don't solve people's problems. As I said to you last time, we are of the firm belief that the clients are the experts in solving their issues. So the only thing we can do is to guide, and we can also provide the client with the tools and the knowledge and the skills that they are perhaps lacking in solving the problem. Because at the end of the day, we cannot solve people's problems. We are not Jesus. We are not the Buddha. We don't have like superior powers to solve people's problems. And also looking at the type of clients we get, it would be really some impossible task to want to solve people's problems. But what we can do is work with them and see where they are at and what they are bringing to the table. Because most of the times, let's say there is marital problems. It's not my place to tell the client that, you know what, this guy is financially and emotionally abusing me, so you need to leave. That's not my place. That's not my job. What I can do is give them the information, in terms of if let's say there are children in the marriage, and making them aware of the consequences, of staying as long as you want, and knowing what you are signing up for. If you are deciding that, you know what, I am not ready to leave yet, my job would then be, okay, you are not ready yet, so how are we going to deal with this? It's either you come then with your husband and we provide you with couples therapy, with marriage therapy, or whatever the need is at that moment. But it's impossible for us to solve that. And then with that, we obviously have to, because we can't do everything alone. That is also another thing. So we need to tap into the resources that are available to us. We are experts in social work, and social issues. That is what we've been trained to do, So I don't know, for instance, if there is a divorce battle going on, and now they need to split stuff, and I don't know the legal side of that, so I don't know how to deal with that. So I will have then to refer them, because I might give advice that might backfire, and then I will be the one who has to deal with that, because that's not my field. And it's the same with diagnosing people. I can't say that you have depression because I'm not a psychologist. What I can do is I can say that it seems like you are presenting with the symptoms of A, B, and C, and therefore I can write you a referral letter for you to go to your hospital or go to the clinic so that they can assess and evaluate you to see whether that is the problem. I can only deal with the social issues. Now, the thing when it comes to men is the stigma. There is so much stigma in seeking help. And as I've stated before as well, that a guy would rather sit, in a relationship where they are financially abused or they are mentally, emotionally, psychologically abused because of what is society going to say? What are my friends going to say? What's my family going to say? So they would rather sit, and then the day when the bomb just goes poof, then it's almost, I don't want to say too late, but so much damage has then been done. And it's most of the time the same with women. They stay and stay and stay until so much hurt and pain and suffering has been endured that they really cannot. So the moment when they come through our doors, they actually think that we're going to solve this problem. We are the last, rope of hope for them. When they get there, it's like, I need something. Just give me something because I cannot do this anymore. And what's sad then is that, what do you think should happen? That's going to be one of my very first questions. And most of the times they know what's the right thing to do. But, they are scared. It's the judgment. It's the kids. It's the dependence. It's all the other external things that are attached to, I rather stay and suffer and hope that things someday are just going to turn around. And men, remember, there's the ego thing. So for him to come to me, who is a woman, and tell me about his emotional issues, that's going to take a lot. It's the same like people asking me the first thing, do you have kids? For you to come and tell and question my parenting skills. No, sir. No, ma'am, I don't have. I actually don't have any kids. But I have experience of what, just for the lack of a better word, what bad parenting can do to a child, and, the long-term effects thereof. So hence I'm there to equip you. And together, in a partnership, we can deal with this and see how we can manage this problem. You understand? So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That was quite loaded. You want to say something?
No, I was just thinking, like, I totally agree, especially with the ego thing when we talk about men. But it also depends on your upbringing. Like, if you're in a open family, if you have the background support system, then you most likely will not need, when it's stormy weather, you can just go back and they back you up. If you don't trust them, you need the help. And if you're brought up in a family where they as you said, when they say, okay, what will they say? Or what will my neighbor say? What will my friend? You're living in fear, and you don't want other people to talk about you. And now in the virtual world, it spreads like fire. Like, somebody sees you somewhere, immediately everybody knows about it. And you don't want this to be like open public thing. Like, it's something else if something else is if you break a hand and you get, it's visible. Okay, everybody says, oh, I'm sorry, what happened? And like, you feel okay, they support me. But when there is a psychological problem and you see the doctor, which is basically the same, like something is broken, the other people will not see like a broken arm. They would see like your weakness. And nowadays, like nobody wants to show, okay, this is my weakness. Okay, I have anxiety. Okay, I am in depression. Okay, this and that happened. And that prevents, I think, and it doesn't matter if it's a male or female, that prevents you from seeking the help, which definitely is needed. But yes, with males have it a bit more difficult because of their nature, because of the ego, and especially usually they're brought up like you should not cry, you should solve your problems alone, you have to
Take
be
it as a
strong.
man.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought up the whole upbringing thing, because that is in core, like our job, is to make sure that kids are raised in a way where it's okay to be vulnerable. It's totally fine. It's fine to show emotions, because it's a human thing to do. It's not a weakness. It's not a sign of you cannot handle this. And that is sometimes hard to let someone see it that way if they've been raised and their beliefs are so strong in I am a man. I'm supposed to be the leader. I'm supposed to have everything intact and live by example, and no battle is too hard for me to fight. I'm a warrior. And now all of a sudden you have to show your humanness, your vulnerability, your moment of emotional weakness, and you need just support. And sometimes it is just to be listened to. Sometimes you don't even have to give advice. It's just that to create a safe space for the person to be themselves in that moment, and to let them feel every emotion without them feeling they are being judged or that there is anything wrong to show whatever they're feeling inside.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
No, it's just interesting to listen to you guys. It's like you're coming from completely different worlds, but the yeah, the mindset or the culture is similar. It's like what guys from what East Europe are almost the same as guys in Africa. Just like brute force, strong, want to be powerful. Um, don't want people to walk all over them, um, and just always want to kind of be the head of the household. Want to control things and things like that. And then obviously then going to therapy means that then you're not all of those things. So you then have to then admit it to yourself that you're not by even making an appointment. So now you're going against everything that you've been looking forward to and trying to fight for, and then you have to go against it just by making an appointment to go to therapy. So you kind of just say, you know what, I'm stronger and stronger. I'm not going to go to therapy. I'm not going to go to a social worker. I'm going to solve all my problems. And they keep compounding and they keep compounding. Now, also, the thing is also the reason why I even wanted to get into that, or why I don't like the narratives that people push against guys, is because then it's like you drive guys to even be even more distant. Because if you tell them they're trash, then it's like, well, then you know what? I'm definitely going to be working against you. I'm definitely going to be the worst person that you'll ever be around. So it doesn't solve the problems that you say that you would want to solve with whatever movements that you're trying to put across. And at the same time, it's like as a guy, if your whole sexual selection game is based on you being strong and being assertive and being the man of the house, and it actually it makes females attracted to you, then why in the world would you want to then be weak So it's like
Ah,
it's a weird thing because it's like, okay, cool, you want me to be soft? Guys will be soft as much as you want them to be soft, as long as that they'll be able to still be in a sexual selection game. But as soon as that they're soft and then you go, oh man, man up, you can't even, you won't get a guy, you won't get a girl like this, then boom, you'll do a whole 360 or 180. And he'll be exactly what you need him to be so that he can still be in the game because competition is always going to be one of his top priorities. So it's like, yeah, we want the guys to be, to be vulnerable. But if vulnerable doesn't mean, if vulnerable means that then it opens up yourself for people to firstly judge you, and then also as a consequence for women to judge you, then you go, fuck that, why would I even be vulnerable? That's why guys find it easier to speak to other guys. Because if you speak to another man, it's like, cool, I'm not trying to be with you. So I can tell you whatever I want to tell you, no matter how weak it is. And you can laugh at me, and then we can go, okay, cool. Now what are we going to do as a solution? And you go, okay, well, look, bro, my wife, this, and that, and I'm impotent, and I don't know what to do. And it's like, geez, whatever. Okay, cool. Now what do we do? Okay, well, look, bro, this is what I did. And then you kind of advise each other. But if you tell that to a female, even if, like you said, like if it's a therapist, it's like, how in the world are you ever gonna, like, it's a female, it's a therapist, you're gonna judge me, and then I'm gonna be, there's not one less female that's not gonna be attracted to me. It's like, I'd rather not. I'd rather still be in the game than not be in the game at all.
I actually had a comment, but now it just escaped me. But I wanted to ask you, do you think then it's something that is created by society? It's that men has so much to prove, because if all men are trash, then I would rather, want to stay in the game and not want to be seen as the softy. Or is it something that is instilled in them from a very young age? Is it something that when they are older, they realize, because the influences and you are more, what is the word that I'm looking for? You have more understanding of what is happening socially when you're older. So then you can decide, you can intentionally make the decision whether you want to be part of the men are trash squad. Do you want to be an activist, someone who's against it, or do you want to be the softie? Do you want to be seen as one of those? Or is it something that it's instilled while you're still young and you grow up like that? That when you are older is now harder to just shake it off, to unlearn that, and to learn that, you know what, it's fine. I understand why there's this very bad label to men in general. And the reasons for that is A, B, C, and D. I understand. It doesn't mean that you necessarily agree with it, but you understand why. So let me then swim against, the crowd. Let me be the odd one out here. Let me be the vulnerable one. Let me be the softy one. And see how that works out, not for men in general, but for myself, so that I can have my own narrative about this, so that I can have my own story about this. Or is it just that, you know what, go with the flow?
Yeah, it's a good question. First of all, I think the guy will go, okay, cool, let me see it for myself, and let me be the reasonable one, or let me be the vulnerable one, or not alive, or at least their offspring aren't. So because firstly, the thing is also is that you're not only living by yourself, you're living with other people, right? So even if I want to be even if at work you want to be soft, right? You can be soft at work, but if management is tough on you, then you need to be tough as well, because management is going to pick on you all the time. Yeah. I'm not saying, Yes, everyone. Yeah. So it's like you better then be tough, regardless if you want to be soft or not, right? Regardless if you want to say, look, let me be the odd one out. It's like if you are the odd one out, you will stick out and people will tear you apart. So a lot of people, it's like a constant battle between nature and nurture. It's like everyone's vulnerable and everyone's um, closed up to a certain degree, right? And then as you get older, we kind of all kind of then move into our little niches and our little political identities. I become a man and you become a woman. You become black. I become white. You kind of move into that, and then every time you get into these groups, then you start to see how the group interacts with other groups, and therefore you determine how you then should interact with other groups in order for you to survive and for you to be successful in whatever group it is. So it's like you have the underpinning of nature from being born with the DNA and the characteristics that you have, and then as you get older, then nature then says, okay, well, now how will you then survive? And you kind of have to get more aggressive or stronger in order to survive in a society where aggression and survival is very powerful. Just like what women do, right? It's like when females get told, look, you don't look nice and your body's terrible. And then you grow up and you go, okay, well, am I going to be the one that's going to say, my body's great? It's like, well, you're living with other women and they're saying that their body is great, or they're saying that they have a body that's just like yours or worse, and they are doing the opposite. Then you're going to have to get onto that train. Because if you don't get into that train, then you're going to be left behind. So even if you want to stick out, you're just going to be eaten alive. So you then say, okay, well, I don't like my body, and this is the way that society is, and therefore I now need to have this whole shape, and my bum needs to be like this, and my boobs need to be like this, and my image needs to be like this. Then it's the same with a guy that's like, look, it's fine to be soft. It's fine to be, to be crying. And then he's like, okay, cool, it's fine. Then he goes and he lives with other guys, and he's 13 and 14, and those other guys go, nope, I'm not going to cry. And I'm the coolest guy in the gang. And if you cry, you're out of this gang, or we're going to kill you, or we're going to bully you. And then you make a decision. It's like, okay, well, are you going to be soft? And then if you are soft, then you kind of die off, and you become the person that everyone else walks on. And if you become tougher, then you don't become that person. So you don't actually even have to be tough. You just need to be able to be tough. You can be soft, but be able to be tough so that other people can see it in you. So yeah, I think it happens with everyone. I think it's just a consequence of the fact that you need to live within yourself, but also with other people. So you have to feed off what other people give to you, and they feed off what you give to them too. Otherwise, if you don't, then they take you away from the friendship circle. It's like if you're a black person or a white person and you don't stand up for a particular movement, then that movement will cut you away, even though you fit in that group. But because you want to be different, they'll cut you off. So at some point, you're like, okay, well, do Black Lives Matter? Or I'm black, and I should say that. If I don't say it, that means that then I'm going to be rebelled against, and therefore I'm not going to be part of the team. Or do gay lives matter? Well, the thing is, I'm a lesbian. Yeah, it's not really gay, but I'm not heterosexual either. Therefore, if I don't connect with the group, they're going to shun me, and they're going to tell me that I'm what do you call it now? A yes man or something, where you just want votes from the other side. Then you just want the other people to look at you nicely. You're not just disagreeing because actually they are wrong. So they'll shun you out as well. So it's a constant battle all the time of, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to be part of the group or not? And sometimes being part of the group or being not part of the group, you then form another group of yourself, of a lot of people that are not part of that. And then subsequently you become a group. And then people that are not with you there, you then shut them out. So, yeah, survival.
I mean, I think it's yes about society and yes about the family, but also like when you look from like really very early stages of your life, like let's say what usually are the typical toys for a girl?
Mm-hmm.
Dolls, kitchen, little vacuum cleaner. So she, like, subconsciously, she knows that she's going to be the one cleaning around the father, because she basically role plays at the age of like 3, 4, cleaning and cooking. But boys have cars and, I don't know, motorcycles, and I don't know, whatever. So like from very early, the kid cannot understand that. But for example, I have son, and my father is over 60. So he was brought up in a very kind of military way, like very strong personality. When my son fell, and obviously he was little, let's say he was like 2 or 3 years old, he fell. So the normal reaction, sometimes it doesn't hurt, sometimes it's just because, you know, the bump. So he started crying, and my dad was like, "Oh my God, you're a man, stop crying." And it was like, "But I fell," or the kid sees the blood, and my dad was like, "No, you're a man, we don't cry." And there was an older girl living in the same village, and she was playing with dolls. My son loved the dolls. And me and my mom, we were hiding the dolls in front of the father because my son wanted to play with them. But we just didn't want to listen. We just because we were, I don't know if I shall say that we weren't, I mean, me and my mom were not strong enough to face our father, but not out of fear, but we just didn't want to listen to the story like, no, he is a boy and he's supposed to play with the cars. So like, I feel like from the very early stages, and you know, that we are putting it into the subconscious of people, and that's how the development is. And also when you were talking about the family and like how you, like, I feel that how or what parents tell you about yourself from like very early stages, you identify it with it. You take it as the law. Like if they say you're ugly, you feel that you are. And as far as you really don't seek the help, as far as you don't, like, you can think about it from left, right, up and down, but you will always feel ugly somewhere deep inside because you were told so. Or if they tell you like, "Oh my God, you're so stupid. How can you know? Oh, you're so stupid." They may not mean it, but the kid feels it. Oh, my parents say that I'm stupid. What parents say is true. You believe your parents. You're like, when you're little, whatever parents say, you believe it. Like they're always right. So I think it also like makes you as a personality either strong or weak. It's not really up to you and up to the nature if you are a strong personality or if you are a weak personality. I think it's really up to the parents what type of personality they create. I don't know. I may be wrong. It's just my.
I am 110% behind what you're saying. 110% because
My parents would tell me that I was short, and I never believed it. Still to this day, I'm like, what?
because I really feel that the foundation of any person lies in the family, in the way that how you're raised. And you know, we learn a lot about you know, in child psychology about attachment and how important attachment is from the moment that you find out that you are with child, that you are pregnant. From that moment that you are conscious that you are carrying a human being inside of you, attachment is created. So whether it's going to be positive attachment or negative, but it starts from that. And then everything that happens, and this is what we, especially, you know, with culture and diverse cultures and beliefs in South Africa, that it's so difficult to make someone who is 50 years old understand the importance of bonding with a child, of having a loving relationship, and what that means and how that looks like, and it's the small things, it's very small minor things, but realizing that you are building the foundation for someone that's going to go out in this world. And there's going to be so many external factors and influences that are just going to come left, right, center, in all directions, actually. And if the foundation is not firm enough, then anything and everything will shake that foundation. They will be easily influenced. They will be, things like a child who's a bit chubby, and then now she gets a nickname, Fatty. It's not funny. It is not cute, because now that child lives with that. Obviously, now your intentions are not to say, there's the bad connotation of being fat. But however, outside there is a different world from inside your house. Now you need to make sure that whatever seed that you're planting in your child's life is a healthy one. That if someone is going to tell them that they are fat out there, they will not be shaken by it. In fact, they will embrace it, because that's who they are, and that doesn't mean anything. And they love themselves regardless of whether they are fat or not. You understand? And it's difficult, and I feel like that goes not just with that, with all the other things. With men, and I spoke about this the last time as well. If a child is exposed to violence in the house, that is what it sticks. You hitting the child when they've done something wrong, even if it's just like 1, 2. You teaching that child that when you've done something wrong, someone must inflict pain on you in order for you to not do it because they don't like it. Now they're going to go out in this world and someone else is going to do something unto them they're not going to like, and they're going to inflict pain on that person because what? I don't like what you've done. And this is my way of communicating to you, telling you that I did not like that. I'm going to give you a fist. I'm going to give you a blue eye, or I'm going to slap you, or whatever, because that is what they've been taught or be exposed to in their household. That is what they are familiar with. And now having to making them unlearn that behavior is a lot, because now they are older and there's so many other factors that has already now taken some space in their lives, and they form their own beliefs as well. Now you have to go back to the root of the childhood, and now you have to hear of all the trauma they've endured and experienced, and now it's 5 generations later of the exact same trauma that has been carried from generation to generation. That's a conversation for another day, because people don't believe in that, but it happens, and now they have to be the one who's gonna break that generational norm. Now they have to go and seek help because their marriage is on the rocks. The wife is living with the children and everything else. Now they must go to the social worker and be vulnerable. Where do they even begin to? Now they're coming to me and they're being arrogant. What am I going to do? There's nothing that I can do there. If you go out and go fix your attitude and come back to me. You understand? So it's always... Yes, sometimes we also have boundaries, which is another thing that people don't know about. But boundaries, because you can't just let everyone walk over you just because. It's not always easy.
I want to. There's a lot that I wanted to talk about. But I just wanted to get into that point there about, like, have you ever worked with someone that was physically abusive, man or woman? And they usually come off as combative, like, regardless of what you were speaking about. Like, they're just combative people.
Sometimes.
Okay,
Many
so
times.
sometimes, yeah, so it's like whatever you're speaking about, it's like, well, what do you want to know? What's up? Like, where is this going to? They always want to just kind of get to the point and to kind of always let you know that violence or a threat is there underlying. So you need to toe the line, and they need to toe the line. Well, you need to toe the line because they're not sure what they would do. Now, have you ever worked with someone that's the complete opposite? So someone that's like completely afraid to even utter anything to you or express any kind of emotion to you because they're afraid that you would take it as something that's going to be aggressive.
Mm.
You have? Do you think do you think both are good? Do you think both are bad? Like, how do you even treat both of them? How do you even comprehend both of them? Because I think that's where the issues lies on both sides. It's like, as a guy, you go, well, look, if I have aggression, that's good, because that means people can't walk all over me. But if I use my aggression to beat people up, that's bad, because that means that some people will beat me up and kill me at some point. And also, it's not good for me either, because I won't have any friends. So I need to be strong enough to defend myself and to defend what I have and own. But at the same time, I need to be in the right frame of mind to never use that force unless it's necessary. Right? That's like being socialized. Okay. Now the opposite side is like, well, if you're very, very, very much of a walkover, and everything that you do, you try to make sure that people don't walk all over you, right? Every single time people will do that. Like, you can't just not do it. So then it's like, well, is it good for you to then actually woman up or man up as well? Right? To go, okay, well, you actually need a bit of vigor in your life. You actually need a bit of aggression in your life. Because if you don't have that, then you're really not so different to someone that's only going to be aggressive. Because again, people are not going to want to be with you because you're always towing the line. People are not going to want to be with you because even if they know that there might be danger at some point somewhere, they can't count on you. Just like they can't count on you to be not aggressive in that situation whereby there is violence. So it's like, yes, maybe when you say when you're in a situation whereby you're chilling with a guy or whoever, a female, and they're very aggressive, you do exactly that. You go, no, I'm not going to treat you. Right? I'm not going to listen to you. You go out there and you come back when you're ready. So in their mind, they know that, okay, cool, you know what I'm doing? Maybe it's not right. And this person is not a pushover. Right? Now imagine if you were a pushover and they come there and they dictate everything. Right? Who needs to then learn to be, who needs to learn? Is it the person that needs to be, one of the persons, do they need to be more assertive and the other person needs to be less assertive? Or are we just saying that, no, we're only going to teach the aggressive people to stop being aggressive?
You have to teach the compromise. It's not like one is more or less aggressive. It's to find the common ground, to compromise on like where your boundaries are, where my boundaries are. We can intertwine somewhere in the middle. That would be our like common ground. But it's like with the freedom of the speech, like freedom of the speech is not like never ending. It has boundaries, and the boundaries are where your starts and that's where my finish. So it's not like, should I be more aggressive or should I, like, how shall I show that I am in charge? No, nobody is in charge here. I am in charge for myself. You're in charge for yourself. And if we are, if we want to, I don't know, let's say you have a new partner or whatever, then you have to find that common ground. Like, that cannot be like everything will be as I want. Or everything will be as you want because I don't want to. Like, I am, for example, I am the type of person who doesn't like confrontation. I hate that. a lot like my father in this. Like he'd rather not go with his friends out because he knows that my mom would be sad because she doesn't have that many friends. As an outcome, in like years, he has no friends. Like, and I'm serious. Like, he has no friends because he knew that my mom would never say, "No, don't go," but she would make him understand that this is something she doesn't want to like live. So, and I'm just like him, like you're like, I don't want a problem, so I will rather, hey, I don't want problems, so I will rather, back off. The question is like when to back off and when to stand your ground.
Absolutely. And also, too much of anything is never good. You can't be on the end of the spectrum of everything. So you need to be able to find a good balance between, I think you posted the other day, the yin and the yang, the good and the bad. And all of us has that in us. We all have that in us. And you need to be able to balance that and to know when to do what. But that also doesn't mean you need to, when you are being aggressive now, you need to go on the very end of being aggressive. And when you are but timid, you need to go to the very end of being timid. You need to be able to balance it too. And I totally agree with her as well, to be able to see where the other person is and how can you guys, how can the energies, how can the emotions kind of flow together, and where the one is lacking, the other one can maybe pour a little bit more into that. But too much of everything or anything is just, it's harmful.
Every extreme is bad. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. It can be religion, it can be movement, it can be anything. Whatever extreme is always bad and it doesn't end up well.
Yes. Where's the Mr. Host?
Waiting for Porto to add in 2 cents.
Mr. Host doesn't agree with us.
Hostess with the mostest.
I'm waiting for Porto to add in his 2 cents. Have you been listening?
I'm already moved, man. How's it? How's it, guys?
Good.
Yeah, good, sir. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I see you are scratching each other's throats.
No, we are not.
Yeah, man. So it's very tricky. Like, I understand what you're saying as well. Like, when you said that it has to be a balance. Look, some people don't want any balance. It's like if you're assertive and you want things to happen your way, you don't want any balance. You don't. Why would you do that? That's the whole point. Like, to be like, there is rewards to that as well. If you don't listen to people and you do whatever you want to do, the reward is that you get what you want. Always. So that's why people do it.
Who's expense? Other people.
Yeah, but
yes,
then okay. On the other people, it's on the expense of other people who allow it as well. It's not just on the expense of other people. It's on the expense of other people.
Not everybody is that strong.
I'm just gonna let Alice take this one. I'm just gonna sit this one out.
I haven't even finished talking. You said you wanted me. You said, "Where's Mr. Host?" I was speaking, and you cut me off.
No, because we just wanted to react that moment or respond that moment.
Okay. So exactly what he's saying there. Yeah. So exactly what he's saying there as well is that some people just want to share benefits, right? Because sharing benefits means that you don't 100% get what you want, right? And you're fine with that. It's like cool. Like, you don't want to have a benefit. You don't want someone else to benefit, and you want it exactly the way that it is. It's like if I want to have a great time, I'm going to go and have a great time regardless of what anyone else thinks. And some people are like that, right? Men and women are like that. Everyone wants to have their own benefit, right? It's like a woman going, "Hey, take me out on a date." It's like, what the hell does a date do for the guy, right? It's like, why don't you go out on a date and I'll go out on a date and we'll meet there together. But so you always want something that's there for yourself. Right?
Oh, Lord.
So the thing is that something
like this.
What?
No, I was just saying, how do we build a nation like this? But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that a lot of the other
no human being is an island. No human being is an island. You need people. You need other people. And if you're gonna be like, if you are going to be on the extreme end of being assertive, now I get what I want whenever I want to wait it out. Who do you think is gonna be in your circle? Because the person who's gonna be in your circle will then be abused by you. They will be victimized by you.
They will be
because
scared of
you
you.
want your way or the highway. So they will have to be on the other spectrum of the receiving end. They will have to be timid. They will have to be the one receiving my way or the highway. That is not a good thing.
I disagree with you.
What happens?
Yeah.
What happens is it's like a CEO surrounds themselves with other CEOs, right? They all want everything for themselves, let's say. It's not that they surround themselves with other people that they're taking from, because the other people that they're taking from will not be there, right? It's like if one person can only take so much from you, and then you cease to exist, right? So as much as you say that they don't live on an island, yes, for sure. So they live on an island with other people that are like them. And people
they're taking from.
Yes,
do you think if when you are assertive, you would let someone else take from you? No.
No. I think the mistake. Yeah, but I think the mistake that you are making is that of thinking that the one who's assertive, like that people have an obligation to make sure that others maximize their benefits. The CEO who's assertive will scheme up with other CEOs who are also assertive, and then they will scheme up to maximize their, which is what is happening actually. It's not something like we're not dreaming yet. This is exactly what is happening. The CEOs club. There's people, the CEOs who sit there, and there's also politicians who sit there and also decide that okay, they're gonna maximize their benefit. And then they protect each other, they maximize their benefit.
On whose expense? On whose expense? The question remains.
It's gonna be at the expense of the sheep. I mean, do you really think that lions, when they are there, they really worry about the expense of the gazelle that they're chasing or the zebra?
Not from another lion, from the sheep.
But lions don't. But lions don't owe zebras any sympathy. So
that's not the point.
But you cannot compare that. You cannot compare animals and us, because the biggest difference between animals and us is communication. We can communicate. We can't. They cannot. That's pure nature. That's pure nature.
They can.
That's why I don't think you can really like compare it with like the natural cycle.
I think that's where we get things wrong, because we have become so arrogant as a species to the point whereby we thought that we're actually not animals, and that's a big mistake. That we think that we are these special creatures that are not animals. And then the fact of the matter is that when pushed to extremes, when things get tough, we actually act like animals. I mean, look at how people act when like for example, look at how people act when they are hungry and then when they've been hungry for
these are extreme situations. Again, you are taking extreme situations. That's something else.
Yeah, but exactly my point. My point is that we are animals. We are just a little bit cleverer, maybe a few steps above, maybe a few brain cells above the next, maybe the most clever animal. But then at the end of the day, we are still animals. And then because of that, and then the fact of the nature, our current situation, our current entire situation and how things are proves exactly the same thing. You get people who always complain a lot about politicians, who always complain a lot about everyone, and then at the end of the day, there's that order, and then there's that order, and then in that order, there's really nothing much that you can change. You can try to socially engineer people for a few 3 months, and then look at, for example, the pushback against feminism. It had its rise and everything, and then they also were trying to balance out the things. But then now, it's already getting a pushback now from people who actually recognize, no, actually you are forcing us to be some things that we are not. So that's exactly what's going to happen. You cannot really fight nature that much. Like what we are is a product of what has been for many years. So, for all nature, and then it's like that. There's hierarchy. There's not only hierarchy between men and women, or the weak and the poor. There's also hierarchy between men and men alone. So there's also a hierarchy there. So they understand that, okay, there's a pecking order everywhere. But then what you guys are trying to do, we are trying to break down that, so that everyone can be fluid, and then everyone can be fluid, and everyone can try to benefit. But then why should I let you benefit if I can take everything? Why like why should I let you benefit? The only thing that actually limits people from abusing others is the laws, the social contract that the community will sign, or, well, not necessarily sign, but then that they will agree upon that oh, okay, we have got women, we have got so and so, we've got so and so. And then the one thing that they do is that the people as a group, they will create structures that will actually be much more powerful than them, because they understand that alone they will just go back to exactly what animals is. That's why we have got NGOs, we have got the police, we have got such organizations. They are there basically the police are there to basically just be the big men that will abuse the ones who abuse us, because that's exactly what it is. The military is there so that it can be able to use violence and kill other people who are actually coming to kill us. So if you are saying that there must be that balance, that means that when the invading army comes into our territory, our army should actually offer them drinks. But then that's not how it works. And if it were to happen like that, I'm sure we would have collapsed long ago as a civilization and as a society.
And the people that have done that have collapsed a long time ago.
Yes, the people like right now, the West is like what is happening right now in Western democracies. They are teaching their boys to be sweet, and then to cry, to be emotional, to be nice girls and everything. And then from there, when you check at what happens in the Arab nations and in the Eastern Europe, you see they are teaching their boys to be tough. So you can teach your boy to be soft, but then when an Arab guy comes, you will wish that you taught your boy how to be tough.
But what if my goal in life is different from their goal in life? I don't feel like it's not really a one size fits all, because my purpose in life is different from yours. What you want to achieve out of this life is different from what I want to achieve. So if I want my legacy to be good citizens, then it's fine. If you want your legacy to be people who can stand up for themselves and fight the enemy physically when the enemy comes and ambush, then good for you. But now what we cannot do is
but not good for you. But it's not good for you, because if my people decide that one day, you know what, we have got a nice territory there of people who are busy hugging trees, so we are gonna go there and then we are gonna take whatever we want. And then
okay, and what about tolerance? Like, what about the tolerance? Like being tolerant to each other and respect.
Yeah, you can be tolerant with people who share your values, but then you cannot be tolerant with people who don't share your values. But you must be able to defend yourself against people who don't share your values.
No, I feel that I must be respectful, and also as much respect I give, I should also receive the same amount of respect. If I don't, I walk
Yeah.
away.
You must tell that to an invading nation and then see what's gonna happen.
No, I come from the Eastern Europe, so I know what you're talking about. I know what happened. Like, it happened to my country twice, so I know what you're talking about.
This thinking of yours, this
That's what the Czech
ideology,
Republic is, yeah?
this theory of yours, this way of thinking of yours. Yeah, I wish I could get into your brains, but I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I hear, and
This is the funny thing, right? Is that you experience this every day. It's like exactly what you said now, Alice, about the Czech Republic and Ukraine and Russia, where you exactly are from. Like, soon as you want to be sweet, the reason why your dad would say stuff like that is not because he doesn't want the son to not be soft or to show emotion, but it's to understand that also if you do show emotion against something or against someone that doesn't care about emotion, you're as good as dead. So it's not to say that, look, you don't want to show emotion.
So why only sons? Why not daughters? Why should I not bring up a son and a daughter equally? Why should I bring up a tough son and a submissive daughter?
I will give you an answer to that. I will give you an answer to that. The reason why you will build your daughter and to be soft, to be nice and soft, and your boy to be harsh and protective, it is because the civilization of any nation, the civilization and the protection of any nation lies on the male child. Because when an invading nation comes, they will first kill men. They will first kill the men. They will first kill all the men and the boy children, and then they will leave the women. And then after they leave the women, what's gonna happen? The women are gonna start are gonna start falling in love and making babies with the invaders, because these are the people. These are the people. That's how next. These are the people. These are hot guys. These are hot guys. These are the people that killed our. These are the people that killed our men. And then
we can do is fall in love.
Yeah, it happens like that in all animals. In all animals. It's not only because we are animals. Because I can tell you, okay. Let me tell you one thing. In fact, yeah, but then what I'm saying is exactly true, because it's what has happened. I'm not saying these things out of nothing. I'm saying this because this is exactly what happens in times of war, in any war that happens. Because the nice thing about war is that it brings out the war. It makes people nervous, and then it brings out logic sometimes. And then once you take out logic, you take out reason, you take out the ability to set aside emotions, then you become animals. You become impulsive like animals. And then let's look at what happens during war. During wars, the boys will the men will either be taken as slaves, and then or they will be killed. But then the women will be working as maids, and then prostitution is high, because prostitution during wartime is high, because now even the men, remember, after men conquer a certain territory, they are not just gonna conquer and sit alone. They understand the fact that there's that inherent need for the man to propagate his DNA, to propagate his genes, and then he's not gonna do that with other men, and he's not gonna bring the women from where he comes from. They're gonna get the women there. That's how you'll find that on almost there isn't necessarily one pure race. Every race has actually been diluted by a nation that has actually invaded it. This is the reality.
I am still fixated at you saying that when all the men has died, Tina, what are we gonna do? We're just gonna fall in love with them.
That's exactly what happens. It's exactly what happens.
We can't form an army and retaliate.
How many times has that happened?
It's a question. I'm not asking how many times it has happened.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen like that, because you still need men to protect your territory, and then the men that are gonna be able to protect your territory are the men that have actually conquered your territory. So now, because remember, I understand something about nature is that, and when you are a woman and you are pregnant, you're actually at your weakest point. Because you're actually at your weak point, emotionally, even physically, you cannot be able to do, all of your energy is actually directed into getting that baby alive. And then that is why even your speed, you cannot run. And when you are pregnant, you cannot run from the invading nation as fast as you would if you were not pregnant. And
They're not going to come and invade us when I'm pregnant.
Yeah, you add a little child there, and a little child and a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old on your back. You realize that there's really nothing you can do. You just have to negotiate with this man and ask him, okay, what is it that you want? Or, oh, okay, it's fine. I want you, but then I don't want this boy and this boy, because I don't know their father, and then they may rise up to actually kill me. So I'm gonna kill them, and then after I kill them, we are gonna start our nice family afresh. That's what animals do, and we are animals. The only thing
I have a question. What's preventing you from, I don't know if it's preventing anyway, but from raising the girl child with the same beliefs and doctrines and all of that? Like, you know what, you don't cry. Crying is a sign of weakness. But no, I'm so sorry. Let's put some Vaseline on it. So you must be the softie.
No, it's useless and pointless. It's useless and pointless, and also it's not efficient. It's you are actually going away from efficiency, because now what you are doing is that you are taking let me say, because understand that there's capacity. A man and a boy child, a man and a woman. Another one has testosterone, which is like basically an energy drink that you get from nature. I don't know how it comes about. Maybe we can ask but then and then the man's muscle content, the bone density, everything about the DNA of a man tells you that, okay, this person can be able to handle this task better than this one. And then it is actually better and then more good for the society if the women were actually to be mellow, and then to be mellow and nice and caring. Why? Because it means that our children will be in good hands, and then they can also be able to absorb the up and down emotions that children do. Because
we are bad when my 3-year-old daughter gets the kitchen and the vacuum cleaner, and the son gets the car. We're exactly where I started. You were not here, but this is exactly, this is exactly the circle I don't like.
Yes, but so now, and I know that is very, very offensive. When I say that, it's very, very offensive. So now that's like taking that's like a Toyota Land Cruiser. It's a very, very powerful buggy, right?
This is the thing, though, Rob. Before you finish, this is the thing that we don't want to understand it, but then we have like life lessons every day with trans athletes. It's like you don't want to understand it. Look at a trans athlete. Look what happens there.
Yes.
And then you go, yeah, exactly. So it's like there's it. Like you live this life, you see it, and then you still want to believe the opposite. But anyway, carry on.
But that's different. That's not really about emotions.
How's it different?
No, it's not really about emotions, or it's not about bringing up a strong personality.
Okay, so trans man competing in an all-female event doesn't make a difference.
Sorry, say it again.
A trans man competing in an all-female event or an all-female event, sports-wise, does it make a difference? Yeah, carry on, Porter.
Yeah. So yes, as what I forgot what I was talking about. Okay, yeah, but
sorry.
I'm gonna remember. Yeah, but my point is that they've been conned. Someone came to them and then told them that, you know what, this is doable. We can do this. And then the only reason they believe that is because the conditions allow for them to believe that. It's nice now, guys. we have been, especially us in the Western democracy, we have actually been in over 70 years of peace. Over 70 years of actual peace. That is something that was not there. So that is enough. 70 years, almost 3 generations. That allows people to have all crazy thoughts.
Not in my country, but okay.
Yes, and then I'm sure even in your country you would see that okay, the men here are a bit much stronger, and maybe in fact in men in most war-torn countries.
They were invaded. They were invaded.
Yeah, okay.
It was a Czech Republic.
Of course.
Because they made the female, they made the men women, and they made the women men.
Or they made the men nice and have feelings and hug trees, and then they suffered the blow. Who
was Czech invaded by? Who was the Czech invaded by, Alice?
If I were what? Sorry.
Who was the Czech invaded by?
Well, in the Second World War, it was Germany, and then in 1948, it was Russia.
All right, so it's like the Putin boys and the Hitler boys, the two strongest.
Well, at that time, it was Stalin or Lenin, one of those.
Probably Stalin. I hear that Uncle Stalin did some bad things there. So, but
who was your president then? Who was your president then?
Yeah?
Who was your president then in the Czech?
They were basically just figures. Like you would not know the name. They were like really. It was just a puppet. They were just a Russian puppet. Whoever Russia decided.
Yeah.
Everyone is equal in equality for everyone, and they try to make everyone the same, and men, women, the woman, man.
See, and that's why I think women actually should lead the nations. Actually, women should. Yes, because we don't want our kids to die. We actually care more about the generation than men. I'm sorry, guys.
So how would you fight the generation of men then? How would you fight Russia if you're gonna then care about?
There would not be fight. There would not be fight because we would communicate. We would talk a lot. There would be no fight.
Okay,
Uncle Putin would love that very much.
High five.
Invading a country that just wants to talk. I mean, that's what he's been trying to do with Ukraine, apparently, and then they did not like it. And then from there, he was like, okay, let's go on some military adventure there, then set up some nice things. So basically,
into an individual talking with Liko,
yes.
with people that you see that are, like I said again previously, if they're like say submissive and they're soft and they're dealing with someone that's assertive and that's very powerful and aggressive, right? Do those people that are powerful and aggressive say, oh, you know what, this person is soft and they're submissive, so I'm not going to try to fight with them, I'm not going to try to do anything with them, I'm not going to try to take advantage of them?
They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care because they don't know the essence and the importance and the power of communication and solving things. So they are conditioned to think that if I beat her up, she's not going to speak to me that way again.
Actually, to be fair to you, in fact, to actually address that, I can actually tell you this, and then well, it might not have been studied for that long, but I can tell you that the guys who actually beat up women, the guys who actually who actually beat up women are actually the opposite of what the guys that we are talking about. Because what happens is that we are talking about actually weak men. Because strong men, even men, if you know for sure that your man is stronger than you, and he knows for sure that he's also stronger than you, do you think that there will be something that actually pushes him to be able to using violence while he knows that he can just yell at you and he can just He can just raise his voice a little bit and then he will toe the line. You don't do that. The guys that actually do the beating are actually the guys that are groomed to be soft and nice. And then now, when they reach when they reach a breaking point, then they start kicking and screaming because they
no,
don't.
I think your DNA, you are made up to be physically stronger than us. You have more strength than we do from the get-go. From the get-go. So it is regardless whether they can see you, Bana, they will be able to overpower you or not. That is not. And a man who has been raised to know that violence doesn't fix everything. Anything,
Violence fixes everything. Let me tell you, the idea that violence doesn't fix everything is a lie. It's a lie that you have been told. It's a lie that you have been told.
I cannot do this.
Let me tell you.
Just listen to me.
Let me tell you.
Where's Mr. Host? Where's Mr. Host? I need Mr. Host to be here.
He must come back.
I have something to say. I need to go and continue cooking my oxtail and my milk, and in a very nice weather. It's raining and it's cold.
Violence
so continue cooking my oxtail. I cannot believe you just said that.
No, violence solves
I am in awe.
You cannot believe what I just said. Okay, let me explain myself so that
let me explain. Attention.
There's nothing to be explained. Like if you think that violence solves everything,
violence is extremely necessary. Violence is extremely necessary because it is the last. It is the last resort. You see. Let's go back. Why do we have a military?
You are the same person who would say, if someone says, Bana, okay, this woman is, what did she do? What did she do to be beaten? How many times has she been warned? How many times have there been conversations? Violence is never the answer. It's not the first resort. It's not the middle resort. It's not the last resort. It is no resort to anything.
No. Unorganized or disorganized, which one is the right word? My English is bad. Okay, is unorganized violence or disorganized violence, whatever. Yeah, that is what you don't want. But organized violence is extremely important. That's why every nation that wants to have its sovereignty needs it. That's one thing that you must understand. That is why we have a. Do you think they have those guns so that they can massage the invading army, or they must massage other people?
Let's go back to the violence between women and men. Let's go back to that one. Let's leave the wars and all of that.
Oh, so we go to that one. Okay, on that one. Here's what happens. Let's go there. Do you think, like, you see what happens there is the capability for violence is enough to stop the violence. Just the capability. You knowing that this guy can fight and beat me is enough to actually stop the actual violence. So, but then people get stupid and then they overestimate their power. Men and women. This not only happens just to men. You guys are not special. Men get beaten far more. Men get beaten by other men far more than men beat other men.
Not by women. Don't get it twisted. By men. Not by women.
I'm not sure if you understand. What I'm saying is that men get killed and beaten by other men far more than they actually
kill. The problem.
Yeah, so my point is, so now we go back to violence. So now, if you are incapable of violence as a person, you already have no power inside you. So you have to go and find some power to compensate for that. Because if you are incapable of violence, that means whoever wants to take whatever from you can come and just threaten you with violence, and they're going to take what they're going to take. So it is very important that you know how to be violent. It is very important that you have a gun. If you cannot be able to fight in this, you must have a gun. Okay. Let's say you don't have a gun.
No, I don't. No.
Okay, let's say you don't have a gun, and some guy comes and say, you know what? I'm gonna snatch your baby, and then I'm gonna snatch your baby, and I'm gonna slap you, and you don't have a gun. You're gonna scream like a goat. So,
Do you think a gun prevents you from getting hurt?
no,
You owning
the
a
gun.
gun doesn't mean that.
No, you having the gun gives you the power so that you can be able to also use violence against someone who is bringing violence to you. So you having that already puts you at a calm state. But then if you don't have violence,
But do you
then someone
understand that this is exactly how people will extinct if they follow this pattern?
Okay.
This is how how we will get extinct.
Okay. Are the cows extinct? Tell me, why do the cows have horns? Do you think they have got those horns so that they can massage each other? Tell me why they have horns.
We are not speaking about cows.
That's why I'm saying that they are not. The cows are not. The cows.
No, it's
The cows.
about human beings.
No, the cows are not extinct. The cows are not extinct. The cows are not extinct, and they've got horns. The cows are not extinct, and then they've
who are ill-disciplined and who does not know how to behave in ways that is not harmful towards other people. And then we have people.
The problem is behavior. The problem is the behavior, not violence. Violence is important.
Someone who's listening to this now, who is an abuser, physical abuser, who is listening to this now and is being enabled by this exact thought.
Okay. You know that. Do you understand the fact that when you say someone is actually a physical abuser, that person is not necessarily a physical abuser. He's an abuser of violence, because violence is power. So he abuses that power. Violence is power, so he abuses that power. You see, violence
is not physical. What is physical?
No. What I'm saying is that we are not giving things the right names. Violence in its own, having the capability for violence. Okay. My point is that having the capability for violence and not using it and managing it and then using it properly where it's needed and not abusing it. That is what you want.
Needed.
But if you use it impulsively, then you're gonna have a problem. Because now.
And you think that guns will solve all the problems? All the problems can be solved by guns?
No. It's not that the guns will solve all the problems. Well, some they can solve some, but then some they can't solve. If someone is coming to invade my house and then is coming to attack me in my house, well, the gun is certainly gonna do the job there. If I'm alert first, it's gonna stop that guy from harming me and my children, right? But then if I don't have a gun and that guy comes, I'm gonna scream like a goat, right? Because I've got nothing.
You obviously like animals a lot. You obviously love animals.
Am I not gonna scream like a goat if someone comes with a big gun and then tells me that I'm gonna scream like a goat, right?
God forbids this happening from you. But when that guy comes in, I wish I can be a fly and your gun is not in reach and I can hear you screaming like a goat.
Then I'm gonna scream like a goat. And then for you, and then trust me, there's nothing worse than screaming like a goat in front of your children. In front of your children and the mother. No,
how do you know that?
No, it's one of those things that you don't want to experience because you know that we are not going to come back from that experience. You watching your family being harassed and then you are helpless. You are there and then you are helpless. You see, so there's nothing. I don't want to experience that. I don't even want to.
But I feel that you're picking up on like really very, very extreme situations and very specific people and circumstances. You know, like this is really, really extreme.
Okay.
Also, Mugai, what about those situations where the people, they do have those guns and then they get killed? But they're not supposed to protect them.
Is it
They
better
don't same gun.
is it better to get killed while you have guns, or is it better to scream
No,
like a
it's
goat?
better not to get
Which one
killed
is
at
better?
all. It doesn't
Which
matter the
one is
guns.
better,
It's
to
better
scream
not
like
to
a
get
goat
killed at
or to
all.
get killed fighting? Which one is better? Is it to scream like a
You
goat?
just need to scream. You need to scream like a goat. Let's stick it there. When
Nah.
you need to scream like a goat. That's
Nah.
it.
Nah,
That
nah,
is it.
I refuse. I refuse because I think we have tried to be soft so much that we
No.
started making ideas. We started making realities that don't exist, guys. Having the monopoly over
We
violence.
need to
No,
fix.
listen.
We now, this generation needs to fix
Yeah,
trauma
but
experience because
but
of
listen.
men with this
Yeah.
thinking of yours. And it's been carried from generation to generation to generation.
course.
And we know this, especially in the black culture. Ubana,
Yeah.
uyabekezela as a woman, when that man is going to beat you
No.
until you purple and blue.
Ubekezela i-abuse.
Uyabekezela.
Ubekezela i-abuse of violence, not violence. Ubekezela abuse of violence, because that guy has got the power, but then he then abuses it, and then that's what we don't want. We want people who are capable, but then are also in control of themselves. Just like with emotions, we don't want people who are going to be there melting in front of everyone there. No, we want people who will be able to control their emotions, because understand that the reason why we have people who rape is because we have people who cannot be able to control their emotions. They feel their sexual urges and then they want to act on them right there and then. That is why we have people who rape. But then someone who has his things right upstairs and then is in control of his emotions, he's not gonna act on his. Of course, he's gonna get aroused if he sees what. But then he's gonna be able to understand that, okay, I must not act like this. This is not the social contract that we signed. This is going to harm that other person, and then this might even put me in jail. So we need people who understand, who are in control of their emotions, not people who are led by their emotions. So when you tell boys that, hey, whenever you feel like crying, just start melting down. Whenever you feel like you want this, speak out. Whenever you have to tell people to understand that there are appropriate ways of dealing with such situation, of controlling their emotions, controlling their violence. People who abuse are people who actually abuse their violence, who cannot be able to contain their violence. And every man must be capable of violence and must be able to contain his violence. Just as with feelings, with everything, actually, you have to be, for you to actually be a full responsible human being, you have to be able to contain your violence. Because sometimes you can see, okay, let's say you can't contain your violence, and then you can see here are 5 guys that are big, who are these UFC's guys? They want to move you there, and then what? Yeah, and then what you want to do? You want to fight that guy because you can't control your violence. But then if you manage to control your violence, you can save yourself, because you can be able to gauge situations. Okay, here it's 5 against 1. I'm not gonna win. It's better I retreat. That is someone who has his screws right upstairs, who can control his emotion, who can control his violence. But then you need violence. You also need emotions as well.
Or people that are like that, or people that are violent and they get themselves in those situations, then even out the playing field and they use guns and other weapons.
Yes.
That's why you need them.
Yes.
And then they go to the army. Yeah, and they go to the army.
Exactly. So that is why we have a standing army. We have a standing army that is highly trained. So South African army is not that highly trained, but then that's why we need highly trained men.
They have like what? Like
yeah, we need discipline, and you understand. Yeah.
If you invaded twice in the space of 4 years, do you have an army?
So you see, that's a problem. But then if you need people who are disciplined. You need people who are trained and strong. You need people who can be able to control themselves. You need people who understand the hierarchy. That's why even if the guys are invaded, and then if they have not been given an order to engage, to shoot, they cannot do that. Regardless of how scared are they of the approaching. And that's what we want to build. That's why. But then you cannot say that when are with your soft man there who does not want to hold guns, then you are safe. You are not safe. You're only safe now because you're only safe
No,
now
he's
because
not going to. Vero, he's not going to.
Differently, like
yeah,
totally
it's fine. It's
differently.
fine.
My son is not
Someone
going
who
to
can
hold
control.
any gun.
Someone who
He's
can.
going to
Someone who
scream
can
like a
control it.
goat. It's fine. My son, he can scream like a goat. I will help him
He's going to
even.
scream like a goat, scream like a chicken in front of you, and then you are gonna run to the one who's attacking you while yours screams like a chicken. And after that, you're going to abandon, dump that one, and never talk to him again. That's what happens. That's the reality of life, not what you see.
Yeah, so that's a good ending, right? Because that goes back to what I was saying earlier about the fact that if as a guy you know that the strong features of you put you or they keep you in the game of sexual selection, then you're not going to be anything else but that. So it's not. It's like if I'm gonna go, okay, well, if I open up and I'm gonna be emotional and I'm gonna let my emotions through and I'm gonna let her know how I feel, but then that means that she might leave me for someone that doesn't do that. That's not a good point to do. So what I'll do is I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell my boy that, and my boy and I will laugh at that, and then we'll solve it because I'm not trying to be in his life. And then I'll still be in the game with everything else. So it's like someone that says to you, you know how it goes where they'll go, well, open up to me, tell me how it is, tell me how you feel, tell me what your problems are. And you tell them exactly what your problems are. And then you have a fight and they use it against you. And then you go, that's exactly why I don't ever tell you anything. Because I know you're a human being, because I'm a human being, and I'll use whatever I have to win a situation. Whether if it's violence or physical, if it's physical violence, I'll use it. If it's emotional or psychological violence, I'll use it.
That's
So if
like
you,
a chicken.
if you don't have it,
That's screaming like a chicken. Yes.
yes, exactly. That's when you scream like a chicken or a goat.
Yeah, that's when that happens. That's when you're screaming like a chicken.
It's either you
Yes.
crazy.
And I think at some point, I think it's also a ploy. I also think it's a ploy at some point when people always tell you, open up to me. It's like, why? Why do you want to open
No,
up
it's
to
a
me?
trick. Don't do
Like,
that.
if I
Don't
open up,
do that. Don't do that.
Wait,
Don't ever do that.
Wait.
You only open up. You only open up to other men who can understand. Don't tell them. Hey, you can tell me, baby. She's gonna tell you that you tell her that, hey, you know what? Hey, Isa, I got beat up by this guy. Because you know, this is what happens also with women, that when you get beat up by the guy, they're gonna let it slide. They're gonna help you heal your wounds and stuff like that. But after some time, next time when you are still being cocky, they're feeling like a man. Then they're gonna tell you, you know what? You are being silly now. I'm gonna call that guy to come and bully you. So you don't.
You know what, man? But guys, like, it will
And you
always
laugh
also
at the
depend.
boy. And you laugh at
And then you are laughing. That's what. That's why you must just end the relationship. And then you know, women understand that very well. And then women understand that is actually their power. And then they understand that there is nothing more that can actually kill a man's morale and kill him more than actually is it emasculating him or what? What's the right way? Whereby they start chipping your masculinity bits and pieces. That's chipping it up until they know that you are nothing. And then how they want to do that, they actually attack things that they know that men are insecure about, like the size of the dong, and then from there they're gonna and many other, and then from there they're gonna have you to ask yourself, why is it after every breakup the woman will always say, yeah, you even have a small dick, you see, but everything was fine, but it's only after the breakup when that happens.
That is not totally true, because
no, that is true. That's and then when they say that, they would want to say that in public, not in private, even though they know that they're lying. You see, even though they know that they're lying, they will say that in public just so that the tree is to chip away your ego, because they know that also part of being a man is actually having that ego and protecting it. You see, they will chip it away. They know that, and then that's their violence. That's how. Because at the end of the day, when we are angry at each other, we are trying to hate each other the best way we can. That's what we.
And that's why there's no need for that. There's no need
No,
for
there is a need. There is a need for that. Otherwise, you will lose. No, but there is a need for that. That's the at the end of the day for the winner to be.
You see, that's how we cannot fix the world, because now you
why do you want to fix the world? Let's just start there. Why do you want to fix the world? Why exactly? Why do you want to fix the world? What's your goal?
Need to make the world a better place for all of us to be able to equally enjoy it, and for it to be. I know it's almost like impossible, because now you have to think about equity and equality and all of those things. I know that. But my point that I'm trying to make is not that now. My point that I'm trying to make now is that, of course, I'm going to lie if I know, but I need to find another strategy to win this battle. But if that is my intention, if my intention is to win this fight, I need to find something that's going to be hurtful. Unfortunately, I do not have the strength to beat you up. And unfortunately, I don't have anything that will be able to, my violence in terms of going and get the gun or anything like that. So now I need to figure out, okay, what are the other things that, because I'm hurt and now I want revenge, but now who's raised differently, I'm fine, you've hurt me, but now I don't have to have anything to do with you. Now I need to heal and let you go and cut you off. And that is what's healthy for me. Because what is it, if I do introspection and I think of what is it going to benefit me if I shout at you, or when you are passing at me telling you that you have a small D?
I think the biggest
I don't want to be seen in public as that kind of person. So you've hurt me. I don't want to be associated with you. So I'm done. Peace out.
I think the biggest mistake you are making is that you are trying to rewrite rewrite the laws of nature, and then yet you are only going to be in this world for roughly. You'd be lucky if you are here for 3 generations. So now you would actually be a better human being if you tried to adapt and then try to see. You'd actually win. You are likely more to win if you try to adapt rather than trying to change nature, that you are going to live here, and then after you live here,
I told you we have different purposes in this life. Your journey is your journey. Your purpose is your purpose. Mine is mine. It's not the same. It is not the same. And that is also fine. If your journey is to scream, or your purpose is to scream like a goat or a chicken, let it be yours. As long as it's not at the expense of someone else. That is what we're trying to say here. As long as it's not at the expense of someone else. And if my purpose and my journey in this life is to at least make sure that my offspring will be better adults one day, and in the immediate environment where they will be, in the families, in the communities, in the circle of friends, then that is my purpose.
But why do you think
that? How lovely would it be if that could be expanded?
Okay. Let's say you are nice, and then we are trying to expand that, and then we teach all our children to be able to hug trees, and then not and scream like a chicken when they are being invaded, when someone is coming. So now
you're already twisting the idea of what she said. You're not listening to her. You're not listening. This is not what she said. She didn't talk about hugging trees and being lovey-dovey and seeing unicorns and rainbows.
That's what she's saying, because she's saying that
you're not listening. She didn't say that.
She wants a nice world. She wants to teach her children so that they can be able to contribute to the beautiful world, to build a beautiful world, so that they can be responsible human beings and be nice and everything.
The tone that you are saying it, the tone that you are saying it, even.
Yes.
It's of such a nature where we're like, yes,
the problem is not
the rainbows and the butterflies and the nang, which is a total bully beef.
So the problem is not the truth, is the tone. Is that you have a problem with the tone, not the truth, not the reality of
Listen,
what I'm saying, but
I'm
in
No.
the
a
tone.
social
Okay, what
scientist.
is it? What is
I'm
it?
a social scientist, so all of these things matter to me.
Yes.
They matter to
And
me because
you
the way
guys,
that you speak to me says something to me about how you are at this moment perceiving and taking whatever I'm saying to you in. And the way that I'm speaking to you, you might if it matters to you, but if it doesn't, you don't care if I say go on and
Like I
keep
feel
on.
that you don't even consider her thoughts. You don't even like think about, this may be right or maybe I'm you're following what, like
no, no,
you're very close-minded, you know? You're
no,
not open to any argument at this point.
no. You know what happened? It's like, okay, what she's arguing about, or what we are basically arguing about. I think Lungelo knows that I was religious until the age of 24, and then that's when I decided that, you know what, I'm gonna step outside here, and then I'm gonna step outside here and try to find other ways of life, because that was not conforming to the reality, to the script of reality. So not even the script, to reality. Why? Because uh, you want that to spread. You want she wants the harmony, or what you call the peaceful world to spread. But then we know that in reality there's always gonna be some chaotic guys. And then if we can't if we cannot prepare to be able to handle those guys, and then we're gonna have a problem as a society, because it's gonna happen. It's the reality. It's the
That's
reality of.
not being disputed. We are not disputing the fact that there's good and there's bad, and the two will always be there. We can't just turn a total blind eye on the bad, because as you said earlier, like
So
and
how
I
do we
think our
prepare for
point
the bad?
was too much of any. The point was that too much or the extreme of everything is bad. You understand?
Okay.
But it doesn't
Okay.
mean that we need to take out all the bad.
How do we prepare for the bad?
Humanly, how are we going to do that?
So I'm asking you, how do we prepare for the bad? How do we prepare to be able to protect ourselves from the bad people that are definitely going to exist, for the bad situations that are that the bad situations that we are definitely going to experience? How do we prepare for that if we don't harden ourselves?
If we don't harden ourselves,
Yes.
I don't think hardening ourselves is a problem. But now,
But
remember earlier we asked. Remember earlier I asked you the question of why can we not then raise the girl child with the same principles as the boy child? Why must that responsibility lie on the boy child alone? And that it's fine for the girl to be fragile. It's fine for the girl child to be soft and to be emotional and sensitive. Because clearly that has not brought anything much that's good so far. Because
I think I think the reason is because people understood before that. I think the reason we are here where we are, people understood before that uh, for our species to survive, we cannot survive independently. We cannot survive. We have to survive as a unit. And then
yeah.
so because we have to survive as a unit, you cannot you have to do what we have to assume that these people, you have to raise these people with the assumption and the preparation that they are going to be a unit, and then one must be strong and then one must be soft. But then if you are now saying that means you're already breaking that, because now they're not going to need each other. That's another thing. And then if they're not going to need each other, then you're not going to build a community of people who don't need each other.
But what are we seeing? What are we seeing in society now? Let's take violence again. You said earlier that men are also being, killed by other men.
Yes.
Women are being killed by men as well.
Yes. Yes.
So clearly that speaks volumes in itself. So how do we address that? Because
I can answer you. I can answer you.
It's not. It is just not. The math is not mathing.
We address that. We address that by training men that are good, so that they can be able to defend against the men that are bad. We train. We fight against that by creating prisons or concentration camps, whatever you want to call. Or we take bad men and put them there, and then lock them there until they are ready to change. Or if they don't want to change, we lock them there for life. Those are the interventions that we have made as a society. You see, but the fact of the matter is that we cannot start telling men to be women just because bad men kill good men.
That's, I do not think that's what's being said. I don't think we are saying, be fragile, be timid, be passive, be a walkover. And again, as I said earlier, like, there needs to be a balance in all of these things that are important.
There is a balance. Be a soft woman.
No, you guys have no balance.
Be a soft woman. Be a soft woman and get a man who's gonna be tough. Then you can pair up and then you can be soft and tough. Then you can balance out.
To have this control and power over women by being especially.
No. I think
as you guys think abusive or violence.
No.
How do you combat men, a small percentage of men killing everyone else in the world? I don't know why the question that you raised was how do you stop men from killing women? I don't even know why it's raised like that. It's almost as if these
I also don't know why
you are not here. You are not here. I did not ask that. You are not here, Lungelo. Don't twist my words. Don't twist my words. Then you heard whatever you wanted. You heard what you wanted to hear, because that is not what I said.
What was your question?
By the way.
What was your question?
No, it's fine.
No. My question.
That was your question. I was listening to you the whole time. Because my video's off doesn't mean my sound is off. I'm listening to you. You asked why men, or how do you stop men from killing women? Was that not the question?
Sir, is that what I asked? You answered my question.
Do you not know what the question was?
Can you answer what my question was? Oh, I forgot. He also he just takes in whatever he wants to take in.
Yeah, but I asked you. Now I asked you. We have got bad men. We have got bad situations. We have got bad women. We have bad. There's just our entire life.
You guys agree with us. Men also kill men. So clearly that is a problem.
No. Listen, I'm saying that our life, our entire existence, it's filled. It has got what
I value this a lot on the Arab culture.
So I'm asking you, if you are saying that we must, I'm asking
value
you, how
life
do we
so
then
much.
prepare for those institutions? How do we prepare? How do you prepare ourselves?
Let's listen to Alice for a minute. You spoke for 10 minutes. Just breathe. Take a moment. Alice, Utili, what are you saying?
When we say about like gun and killing people and men kill men and men kill women, etc. This is what because I live in Arabic culture, and this is what I value. Like, I can disagree about a lot of many things, but this is what I like about them. They value life the most. The children, they're overprotective sometimes, but still, and they put the seed of this, that life is above all, into their kids, and that's what I really like. It has nothing to do with the religion, nothing to do with being Muslim or not being Muslim. Obviously, it is repeated in Quran and stuff. But it's just inside them. It's in the culture. This is how they were brought up, and that's why there are like no murders, no killings, no like if you leave your car on and you go shopping for 2 hours, you go back and the car is still there on. It would not happen in my country. The car would not be there in 30 seconds when I leave the car.
Are we having a connection problem?
So
What's
it's not
happening?
only like valuing the life, but also like respecting. Sorry.
It's not really an Arab culture, I would say, because I mean it's a kingdom, firstly. So that's the same thing that happens in like North Korea. It's like, well, if you have one person,
come on, like Great Britain is a kingdom as well, and the theft and killing.
Not like in the Arab countries, it's not. Okay, so anyway, so it's like if you have one person that makes the law, right? Well, not one person. Let's say you have a particular set of people that make the law and they stick to that, right? And there is no opposition. They can't not be in opposition. And you make and you make them rich, right? And in that, you make them rich to the point whereby then there's not too much of a gap between the poor people and the rich people. In general, the crime is not going to be as bad. So it's not like there is no crime. There is crime. First of all, you don't hear about it, right? That's also as a consequence of being in a kingdom, is that then you can control the media, you can control the stats, you can control a lot of things that people don't. You can control things that we're exposed to. It's not that there isn't, because if there isn't, there wouldn't be jail. There wouldn't be
I know, like there is jail, but let me, for example, my experience here. I have a friend and her ex-boyfriend got into fight here on the street. It was in the evening, and a child saw it, and the police were called, and he got 3 years in prison. Without parole, 3 years in prison. Not because
guys,
of the
there's
fight,
a delay. There seems to be a
saw
delay in the way what you guys saying. Like what
3
you
years.
just said about
This would never happen in my country. They were like, maybe he was based on money and that's it. And let's go, bye. See you next time.
Maybe say you need to go out and join again.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so what you're saying again.
I really see it as a culture, not like. I really see it as a cultural thing.
Muslim culture. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah, and they're as violent as any other place.
We're not interested. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
So it's like Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan have the same culture, right? And they're one of the most violent.
And again, we're like when you talk about Afghanistan and Taliban, etc., these are extremists. This is not the culture.
Yeah,
what do you know from Bahrain?
But Alice,
Alice,
have you not observed like the tendency between Lungelo and his co-goat that it's always there. It's always the worst of the worst scenarios and all the best of the best scenarios. They can't. Abakwazi like to. I don't know, like they always. It shouldn't be something new for you now since we've had this conversation.
Okay, but
she was talking about the Gulf countries and how safe it was. Now I'm comparing the Gulf country with the other countries that are similar to the Gulf countries, and as to why the Gulf countries are as safe as they are and not the same as everywhere else in the world. So what I'm saying again is people in the Gulf are richer. So the difference between the poor and the rich is not that big. That's the first thing. The second of all is that they're highly religious. Okay, and most of their laws are highly religious, and they don't allow any other religion to infiltrate into their laws. Okay, so that's the second thing. And the third thing is because they're a kingdom, they can control everything. So they can control everything that. Don't even speak about
There's
it.
one voice.
But
Yeah.
yeah, there's one voice that can control everything, and whatever you hear and listen to is exactly what you think is happening. Now, if there was no crime, if there was no serious crime, they wouldn't have big jails. They wouldn't have a jail there and a jail there. They wouldn't have that if there were no big crimes. But as a consequence of life, there's always going to be crime at some point, somehow. It's the same with Norway. It's the same with Iceland. Like they have like 10 people and it's still crime. Okay, it's a consequence of just having people and having people that are going to be on extreme levels. So of course it's going to be safe here. But even in the Gulf, this part is safer than that part. That part is safer than the other part. Now, as soon as you go and say, well, look, if you're going to commit any crime, I'm going to cut your head off, then people go, I'd rather not commit the crime, right? But then the consequence of that is that then even if people don't commit crime, they will still then be liable to then have harsh sentences like that. And then you find out after a while that this person didn't commit the crime. You can't bring them back because you executed them. So they're not going to get those stats out there and say, well, how many of those people were actually innocent? It's like, no, we're not going to do that. We're just going to deal with it the way that it is. That makes it safer in that sense. So in the Czech Republic or in SA or in Venezuela, wherever it is, whereby the gap between the rich and the poor, the poverty of the actual country huge. Right. What happens is that then the men in those societies, in order for them to keep the people in those societies, in order for them to survive, that are mostly at the bottom of the food chain, they tend to theft. And when they tend to theft, that means that then whatever you have, I can just take it from you. Now I have it, then I can survive. Now what happens when you start turn to theft is that someone else is not happy with that. So I'm going to steal what you have. You're going to go and steal what someone else has. At some point in that chain, someone is going to say, well, what if I just stab you and will use physical violence when you won't do that? And that's what happens. And that's how physical violence happens. And most of the time, most of the people that do that first are the men that are going to be physically violent first. So they turn to violence, right? And then that violence then becomes armed robberies. It doesn't just become robbery anymore. It becomes armed robberies. So in South Africa, for example, what is a massive thing now is the cash in transit heist. So it's like, okay, well, we need money to survive. Okay, well, everyone else in our community doesn't have money. So what are we going to do? We can't just steal it from them because it's not there. So we'll take it from the cash in transit trucks, right? And how are we going to do that? Well, they're going to use force, so we have to use force. And then that's what happens. In other countries where they have open drugs, they go, well, drugs brings money. And if I take the drugs, then therefore I can sell them. What happens then? The people that have the drugs go, well, I'm going to shoot you if you take my drugs. And then that's how you get violent there. So all the societies tend to go to steal and take and try to survive and stay away from violence, because if I'm violent to someone else, that means that they know they can be violent towards me, which means that then I can die. So I don't want to do that, which is why I turn to violence. But ultimately, at the end of the chain, when I turn to violence, when I turn to theft, then violence will be a factor in that. So when you speak of the Gulf countries, it's like they don't have to go through that stuff because everyone is kind of socialized. Everyone knows where their place is. Everyone is relatively rich or not as poor as other countries. So that's the big difference. You go to the Czech Republic, you have massive difference between the rich and the poor. And the poor people go, okay, well, I'm just going to take the rich.
The thing is, when you look at the families, they also care for each other. They if I don't know, if the brother has financial problems, the other brother steps in and not lends but gives him the money. The families are they're like units. Like this is what doesn't exist anymore in West. It doesn't exist in Europe at all anymore. But these are still the units that they really help each other tremendously. That's
True.
why
Yeah.
also
Yes.
yes, there are poor people, but usually poor people are those from, let's say, Bangladesh and those who are even
Well,
poorer
and how much
from
of that
where
is the
they come
religion? Yeah.
from.
So how much of so a lot of those things are as a result of the fact, first of all, that you have the money to help someone because you're not poor. Because if you didn't, like, it's like everyone is going to try to help their family. That's the first thing that you try to do. But if you can't do it, then you're not going to do it, right? So it's like
Yeah, I
if you
know,
had
but
a choice
I
between,
don't mean it only like financially. They can support you, like, okay, move in with us for a
yeah.
certain
I mean, in any way,
amount of time.
yes, I mean in any way either. It's like you are going to be more likely to give your sister advice than you're going to give me, for example. Right? It's like you're going to support your family more than you will support yourself. Maybe not personally, but anyway. So you're going to look after your own, right? So that's always going to be there as a consequence of just you having a family. You know them longer than anyone else. So therefore, I'll do the same thing. She does the same thing. He does the same thing. Right now, if you have a country that's going to be religious, they're going to spend a lot of time together because there's no need for them to leave the Gulf. Because why would I leave and then go struggle in another country? I'll just stay here. So they're always here. They're always around their families. They don't like actually dating and being outside of their family. They date cousins. Then everything stays in the whole bundle. And then also, it's like, well, it's taboo to actually just go and and live elsewhere. It's like live in the family, take care of the parents. Okay, well, I'm here. I've got the government's funding me. The government's able to then give this to me. I can just build a house and live in the family. And that's it. And I don't have to live elsewhere because if I'm actually better off living in the family. And that happens in the Western culture, right? It's like, well, when you're struggling, what do? You go back home because that's where you're going to find solace. That's where people are going to care for you, even if you don't have anything. You can sleep on the couch there instead of sleeping in Richard's couch. Because Richard, whenever he's going to make it in life and you get mad, he gets mad at you, he's going to bring that up. So it's better for you to go there to your parents.
When he brings
Whereas
you
here, it's
candy,
like, yeah, exactly. So that's how it happens. So they stay around you. It doesn't mean that they don't have the exact same problems that we have, where you go, okay, well, if there's family dispute, it actually makes it worse sometimes because now it's like, well, if you get physically abused as a male or as a female in a relationship, how are you going to leave? Like your whole family's backed on this. You have everything that you could possibly have. Like how are you not surviving together? It's even worse to leave. That's why it's so much harder. And the religion makes it even harder. And then there's the whole culture that they shun you. Whereas in the Western culture, it's like, well, you get beaten up. You know what? We didn't like you with them anyway. You can leave. No one's going to shun you. Go get someone else. Go date higher up in your food chain. So that whole thing is part of safety. Everything around the Gulf helps with safety because now I know that your family is cool and I'm not going to take your family because your family's friends with my family and we're all cousins and so on and so forth. And there are smaller countries as well. Whereas if you go to the bigger countries, they then tend to be even more religious and more restrictive because they know that, hey, the bigger the population, the harder it is to govern. So let's actually govern them by the laws and religion. And then you go to Afghanistan and then you go to Iran. It's like, okay, well, let's see there. Let's see how rich they are and see how religious they are. Then they go to extremes. So that's the price you pay for having a kingdom. And then the price you pay for having a democracy is you get something like America where you can never agree on anything. But at least you have the individuality to survive and to always make your own decisions and to have conversations like this. You think you can have a conversation like this on Arab TV?
Master Coach, do you have anything to say? I'm the facilitator now.
I mean, yes, obviously you cannot like talk about everything, and I am a teacher here, and I also like we have to have like books authorized by the Ministry of Education that they are like suitable to read. So yes, there are restrictions, there is censorship, but
It's not just censorship, right? It's not that it's sense like the things are taken away. It's like other things are brought in for you to do or for you to read. That makes it even worse. Because it's like you're not only taught
No, because
not
nobody forces you to read it. It's not like in China they give you this and you have to know all the rules of Mao Zedong or whoever was their crazy man. So that's
okay, fair enough.
I don't see Bahrain like that. No.
Okay, so you're not forced what you read, you're forced what not
No.
to read. But if you
Yes.
read the wrong thing, then it's a problem.
The same thing, basically.
No, it's not the same thing. It's not definitely not the same thing.
It's the
But
same thing.
Yeah, you're
Just that
taught
the other
nothing
one,
the same.
just that other one is softer, and then the other one is much more direct. But then it's like saying what? It's like courting basically. That okay, let me not say I want this, and then, but then she knows I want this, and then, but me not saying that I want it, then it's gonna make her comfortable with it. But
Yeah,
then they know
it's like how
that I
many
want.
people. Yeah, it's like how many people do you know in the Gulf that are in jail or sent to jail, or it's like you even know what the jail is?
I don't even know where it is.
Exactly. It's like
But then it's there. so, so it
no
says
matter how it works, whatever it is. Whereas in the Czech Republic, you know exactly
But
where the
in the
jail
Czech
is. But you
Republic,
don't
I
even,
know where it is. And isn't it sad? Doesn't it like
you don't
say
want to
something
drive
about the
close to them
culture?
and have them. Hey,
no, yeah, we can even share my piano music with them, so we can see them there on the other side of the.
Wow. Yeah,
so,
anything and everything,
so
Jay.
yeah.
yeah,
So I mean that's a massive difference. It's a huge difference between the Gulf countries and the Western countries, which is why when the Gulf people from the Gulf countries when they moved and they have to go and study because then they realize that as the benefits of having a society that's going to be very open is that then you get shared thoughts and shared experiences, and through that you get a lot more growth because then I'm not only learning from what I think is right, but I'm also learning from someone else from a different culture, like what we're doing now, and we're learning from each other and we're talking and we're talking. And as a consequence, you are then in a better stead, even just psychologically, than someone else that's going to be, oh, okay, I'm just going to be in the army and I'm just going to kill people, right? So then what happens is then you force then the people that are living together or living in the Gulf to go out and then seek education elsewhere, and that's where they go, right? But then when they go there, then they have to then contend with the other realities because now they're not home anymore. Now they have to go and contend with those realities, and those hit hard, right? Because it's not just culture, it's everything else. Now it's the fact that, oh, okay, this means that something small like, oh, people here are actually not covered, and not only that, they actually do not care,
and
and you
they
wake up to
try,
that every day. That's a massive thing.
and then you start seeing that no, man, I should have been this side.
Yes, that's what happens. That's what happens to the Saudis, right? That's what happens to those boys there, right? Is that
Yeah.
they go, okay, well, what? We can go to the beach and see women in bikinis, and the women do the same thing. That I can go to the beach and have a bikini and wear a bikini, and I can see guys that are going to be hot, and I can be in the vicinity with them. I'd rather stay here,
Do
right?
you guys
But then
think, do you guys think that Alice and I's reasoning is influenced by not only the fact that we are ladies, but also our professions?
Yeah.
yes, definitely, and also your genetics and everything else. Yeah, for sure. That's why I chose to speak to you.
So if we were men, we would have argued differently. If we were
Definitely,
men
one
and
hundred
in the
percent.
same professions, would we have argued differently?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, that's why males generally don't teach kindergarten kids. It's just, you just don't do it. What?
No, that's not true.
No,
In the
what?
past, there were only male teachers. This was not a
Say that again?
privilege of female to teach.
Say
Teachers
that
were
again?
strictly men only, used to be.
When?
Back way, I don't know when exactly, but teachers
Okay,
teaching started with men. Males started teaching, not women.
so females weren't allowed to teach.
No, we were not allowed to teach. We were not allowed to have a job at all.
Yes.
But,
So only males could do jobs.
no. Wait a minute. I think you are also narrowing down.
Males could do.
I think you are narrowing down
it's
the
fine,
process of, I think you are narrowing down the process of teaching, because when a child from age 0 up to 7, from age 0 up to 7, the child spends more time with you. That means you teach the child language, you teach the child what to eat, you teach the child which insects to play with.
About professions.
So now,
about professions. You see,
yes, but she says from way back. She said from way back. So when she says from way back, that was still teaching, because men came in to teach about trade, meaning that now when the child is at a certain age, then that's when they can start teaching them to trade. But the basics of teaching have always came from women.
Okay, well, it depends. What do you mean now by teaching? Like by teaching like children, or by teaching like profession?
Isn't the outcome the same?
No.
What's the difference?
How can this be the same?
like, Johnny, me teaching my child as a mother is not the same as someone who is a professional teacher. It's
So what?
irony. Like, that's just a common sense.
I'm asking that, is it okay? What is the main purpose of that? What is the purpose and what is the outcome? I'm not worried about
what were you taught in school? What were you taught in school?
My dad was a farmer. He didn't go to school for farming. He was a builder. He didn't go to school for farming. But then that was his profession. So I don't want us to get tied up in the terms. I just want the outcome, the objective, the outcome, because that's what's gonna do. Because if you say that women were not allowed to teach, that is something that I don't agree with.
But we spoke about. My question.
Yeah,
my question was, as do you guys think that we would have argued differently if we were men, but practicing the same profession, meaning we are qualified, we are trained and skilled and equipped to do what we are doing. We went through training, professional training to be what we are now in terms of our occupation. That was my question. Not Ubana, your mother is teaching you values and morals of life and all of that. That's not what I was asking. You see, hence we're going back what we said earlier. And every time when we have this conversation, Lungelo is not here. That
again,
it seems like you are selective in terms of what you hear from us.
What are you talking about? I'm listening to what you're saying.
I'm not talking about you. You need to listen.
Oh.
So you don't take in, or you are listening to respond. One of the two. You are, when you are listening, you're taking in to formulate a response for what is being said. Because that's what
look at his eyes and his posture. He looks like he's really listening, or he's really high.
Suka, he's listening now. Hey, all of a sudden he's listening. Yo, hi guys. Are you listening now?
No, I am listening. I am listening, but I think we are
He's even warmed up
going
his
in
head
circles.
to make
We
sure
are
that
going in
everything
circles.
stays in.
Guys, there was a burglary here last night in my complex, and
So stay up and be a man.
they actually got access to the family's flat. So I'm a bit edgy because I'm staying alone, and men obviously, when it's a female staying alone, even more power for them to do, because what chance do I don't have a gun. I will scream like a goat or a chicken.
Like a chicken.
Or I will be silent, or I will be silent to not scream like a chicken or a goat. And the worst would happen to me. So every time when I hear something, I'm just like looking at my doors.
Alice also lives alone and she's female. What do you do to protect yourself?
I'm in Bahrain. I don't need to.
Maybe the next talk should be white privilege.
No, but maybe I was really lucky one. I don't come like from a rich family, but definitely not also poor family. Let's say like middle class family, and I never felt any threat. Like although my parents were last year they were robbed twice, so it's not like the crime doesn't exist or it's not touching me. But
does your father have a gun?
No. No, we don't have guns. We are anti-Trump. We don't like Trump.
She doesn't have a gun that she knows of.
Are you guys understand?
I would politely ask the
So what happened? So what happened when you got robbed? Did he scream like a goat?
Do you even have a license for your gun? Do you
No,
even have a license?
my parents were sleeping actually at that time.
Do you have a
guys,
license for your gun?
But I have to have a license. And you know what's forensic files? Or do the robbers, they steal the cable? They steal your cable internet as well.
Do you have a license for your gun?
No comment.
That's his
You don't
body.
have to perjure yourself, boy. You don't have to purge yourself.
No, I for the fear of incriminating myself.
That says a lot. That says a lot in itself.
I can neither confirm nor deny that the statement issued is
That is,
true.
if you don't have
Or
one,
false.
it's a criminal offense. And
I
you can be
can neither
jailed
confirm. I
for
can neither
being
confirm
in
nor
possession
deny
of an
that the
unlicensed.
statement issued is true or false.
You are not going to scream if someone breaks into your place. You're not going to scream. You're going to take it out, whatever it is.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying it's better than screaming like a chicken. So my point is that again, the only reason, like I'm sure you have. Tell me
No
about your.
reason even to have that. That's the point. There's no reason to be scared in a space that you need to feel safe.
Yeah.
And then someone else comes and invade your safety, your privacy.
What about? Okay, what must I do? Must I call the cops?
I don't understand how you cannot understand. For me, I'm thinking like as a teacher, like my brain is now like 100% working, and I'm thinking about how else to explain it to you. I'm running out of ideas, and I feel like the worst teacher ever now.
So I want to know from her. I want to know from her that when something happens, should I call the cops? Is that the option that you give me?
What do you think is the right thing to do?
No, I think that every man should. I think every man should have the ability to defend. He should have some sort of a weapon to be able to defend himself against the people that are attacking him.
So do you think that all of us that because there's always someone that you would want to defend yourself against. I don't know who, but maybe someone. So all of us then must be in possession of guns.
You see, that is really not up to me to decide. But what I'm saying,
we can't.
No.
You saying that we,
Yeah.
but swimming like a goat and a chicken is not going to help. So then,
yeah, but what I'm saying is that there's never been a time, I don't remember, maybe now, but then I don't remember a time in history of humans whereby they did not have some sort of a weapon to defend themselves, some sort of weapon, skill, or whatever to defend themselves against the people that are attacking, or whatever animal or anything that is attacking. So now, all of a sudden, now your grandfather probably had a stick, and then maybe his grandfather probably had a spear. His grandfather maybe probably had a rock, and then now you are telling me that now it's not necessary that I defend myself.
Okay, so let me ask you. Wait. Let me ask you a question. So, do you think that if every one of us had exactly the same gun to protect ourselves, there would be no crime?
There will be crime.
Why?
Of course, I'll be fine.
Why do I need the gun then?
Because people are people. Like some things are inevitable. Because people are people. There's always stupid people. There's always people who can't control themselves.
As a teacher, you know that. There's always
so that we can not
have you ever been in that class where there was no noise? It's just like noise. You know, you live here, they start making noise. That's exactly what happens. And then you constantly have to tell the kid, hey, shh, say, keep quiet. That's what you constantly do. You don't say today, you know what, I said this last time, or I don't need to say this because they're going to hear me when I tell them.
You see now, if I'm going to be technical, because again, there you go with your extreme examples. That is a key.
I'm asking, I'm making an example.
The only thing they know is to be noisy because they are paying. They don't know better. Me and you, we are adults. We are supposed to know that. If I'm going to be invading your space, it's not okay.
Haven't you met adults who don't know better? Haven't you met in your life? Have you not met adults who don't know better? There's what you have. I mean, even you can go anywhere. You can go anywhere. There's always going to be someone who does not listen. There's always going to be someone who's gonna do something stupid.
Where do you think that stems from?
Yeah.
Where do you think that stems from? What's the
human nature? We are flawed. It stems from human nature. We are flawed. It is like that. You cannot change. You cannot wish it away, and you cannot also stop people. You cannot just
of course you can change it. This is the human nature because we have brains, because we can evolve, because we can learn from the mistakes. This is what you can do. This is what you don't understand.
Our brains have plasticity. It means that we can change things. Our brains they have plasticity. It can be changed. It can be changed. And if it's harmful to the next person, then it must be changed, because just because it's human nature. And some people are impulsive, and they cannot control their urges and their wants and the wishes and the body for what it wants. It doesn't mean that it should just be accepted. And you know what? Go get yourself a gun to protect yourself.
Okay, you are speaking like someone who says that. You are speaking like someone who blames you know when someone gets pregnant by a stupid guy and then blames and says, I didn't see that you are stupid. You are sounding like that because what happened? No, wait a minute. Because you assume people can mean well. You assume people can always be good, but some people are just bad, and then there's really nothing you can do about it. You cannot adjust their brains They are just stupid, and then you have to.
Someone needs to do a study on your way of thinking because it is bizarre. It is out of this world. It is. I don't know. I don't know what the religion did to you, but religion did something to you, and it left something there. And because how the hell do I see a guy that I've met in a club, you know, this one is true, or in the church, or at the store, this one is stupid. So be
but
you know,
but understand one thing. If you can see that this person is stupid, and then given enough time, and maybe you are repeating, that means you are also stupid too, because you cannot see someone who's stupid, and then a stupid person cannot see another person who's stupid.
No. What's your name? Listen to me. You just said you literally contradicting the exact same things you said.
No.
You just said that we are human beings.
Yeah.
We are human beings. So that automatically means that some things we cannot, that's what you said as well, we cannot control. And some things you can control. I don't have superpowers. I cannot see that this person is a douchebag of a person actually. And
Then you get knocked out by him, and then from there, it's a douchebag and another douchebag and a douchebag left.
I have feelings, I have needs, I'm a human being.
Okay, wait.
I think upon my wants in the moment, and then things will happen. Because I am a human being. So now I must be able to do all
Things will happen. You won't do anything. You are innocent. Things will just happen.
You don't need to
you are innocent.
Religion did something to you, and I need to find out what. I need to accept you. I need to accept you psychologically.
I'm gonna end the call, okay? Just so that it doesn't go away, and then I'm gonna come back on, and then we can close for the next just for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Then we can close.
That guy who said that, Alice, I'm very upset.
Yeah, so we'll start there, trying to I need to end the call.
But understand something.
Wait, start there. You'll start there.
Wait,
You'll start there.
One stupid, another stupid.